Welcome back. Today, we are diving deep into what is, without a doubt, the foundation of modern code, JavaScript Objects. Think about it like this. If your app is a building, objects are the bricks, the steel beams, the windows. They are the digital blueprint for basically everything you're going to create.
So why do we even bother with them? Well, just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got all these separate, disconnected variables floating around. I mean, it works, but it's messy, right? Now look to the right. We've taken all that related info and bundled it neatly into one single, clean package called Student. This is so much more than just a style choice. It's about writing clean, organized, and manageable code from the get-go.
So now that you've seen the why, here's our blueprint for today. We'll kick off with why your code desperately needs objects. Then we'll get our hands dirty and create our first one. After that, we'll see how to bring them to life, check out some pro-level techniques, and finally, see how this all plays out in the real world. Okay, let's jump right into our first section and really hammer home why objects are just so important for writing good code.
You know, it really just boils down to these three things. First, your code becomes way more organized. All the related data lives in one place. Because it's organized, it naturally becomes more readable. Anyone can look at a student object to know exactly what it's supposed to represent. And finally, this makes your code incredibly reusable. You can create tons of different student blueprints without starting from scratch every single time.
All right, section 2, it's time to lay the groundwork. Let's see how you can start building these powerful little structures for yourself.
So, what is an object, really? At its core, it's just a collection of key-value pairs. The easiest way to think about it is like a dictionary. The key is the word you look up, and the value is the definition. We use these collections to build models of real-world things, like a user, a product, a blog post, anything. And this table breaks it down perfectly. For a student object, the keys are name, age, and course. Think of them like labels on a container. And the values? Well, that's the actual data. RAM, the number 25, and Java full stack. It's really that simple. A label, and the data it points to. Now, there are a couple of ways to actually create an object, but let's be honest, you are going to see the one on the left, the object literal, about 99% of the time. You just use those curly braces. It's clean, it's fast, it's the modern standard. The new object method on the right, yeah, it works, but it's clunkier and you just don't really see it in modern code anymore. So we've got the blueprint, but a blueprint isn't very useful if you can't interact with it, right? Let's figure out how to bring these objects to life by actually accessing and changing the data inside them. To get data out of an object, you've basically got two choices. The most common by far is dot notation, which you see on the left. It's simple, it's clean, it's what you'll use most of the time. Then, on the right, you have bracket notation. It kind of looks like you're accessing something in an array, but you use a string inside the brackets.
And that's the logical next question, right? If dot notation is so easy and so common, why on earth does this other, slightly clunkier method even exist? And this is the million-dollar answer. Bracket notation is your superpower for when the key is dynamic, when it's stored inside a variable. Look at this example. We want to get the property whose name is stored in the key variable. If we tried to write student.key, JavaScript would literally look for a property named key. It has no idea we mean age. Bracket notation solves this perfectly. It tells JavaScript, hey, look inside this variable first, and then use that value as the key.
Objects are also completely dynamic. You can update a value that's already there, just like changing the age to 26. You can add a totally new property on the fly, like adding a city. And if you want to get rid of a property, just use the delete keyword. This makes objects incredibly flexible and powerful. Okay, you've totally got the fundamentals down. So now let's level up. We're going to look at a couple of modern pro-level techniques that will make your code so much cleaner. This is all about working smarter, not harder.
First up is destructuring, and I can't stress this enough. This is a very important concept in modern JavaScript. It's basically a super clean shortcut to pull values out of an object and pop them into their own separate variables, all in one line.
I mean, just look at how powerful this is. In the first example, we just pull name and age out into variables with the exact same names. Easy. But what if you want a different variable name? No problem. As you see in step 2, you can rename name to student name. And my favorite, step 3, you can provide a default value. So if city doesn't exist on the student object, our variable will get the value visag instead of being undefined. So cool.
And hey, here's a little bonus tip for you. The spread operator, those 3 little dots. It's another game changer. It lets you take all the key value pairs from an object and just spread them out into a new one. This is amazing for making copies of objects or for merging two objects together into a brand new one. It's a must-know.
Okay, so theory is great, but how does this all come together when the rubber meets the road? Let's check out a real-world example and, just as important, some of the common traps that people fall into.
This is a fantastic example. See, this student object doesn't just hold data, it also has a function baked right into it. We call that a method. And notice that special this keyword. This refers to the object itself, which allows the result function to grab its own marks property to do a calculation. This is where objects start to feel really alive.
All right, let's run through some common mistakes rapid-fire style. First up, when you use bracket notation, you have to put the key in quotes to make it a string. If you don't, like on the left, JavaScript thinks name is a variable, not a string, and you're probably going to get an error.
Next up, what happens if you try to access a property that just isn't there, like student.phone? Well, the good news is your program won't crash and burn. JavaScript will just return the special value undefined. This is the expected behavior, but you really need to be aware of it because it can cause some sneaky bugs if you're not careful.
And this last one is a big one. Inside an object's method, if you want to access another property on that same object, you absolutely must use the this keyword. If you forget it, like on the left, JavaScript won't look inside the object for name, it'll look for some global variable named name, which is not what you want.
And really, at the end of the day, it's true. From the user profile you log into on a website, to the items in your online shopping cart, to every single component in a complex web app, it's all objects, all the way down. They really are the fundamental building blocks. So now that you know how to create them, how to change them, and how to combine them, you've unlocked the core skill to structure data for any application you can dream up. The only question left is, what will you build with them?